think it's that time. We are going live in just a few seconds. All right. Okay. Let's see what we're working with. All right, we're good. Okay, let's do this. Well, you know what I want to do real quick. Uh, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so you'll know what we're talking about tonight. It's going to be pretty exciting, actually. And let's do this. Tonight, we're going to talk about the part 3 of our Learning 2.0, the new education series. As you know, I'm Rashid Hill, and I am the host of the Triple Effect. This is part 3 of 3 of our digital acceleration series. And this digital acceleration is all about what does the future workplace look like? Are you prepared? Are your skills are setting you up for success in the future? You know, in the past, we talked about the different emerging technologies that are part of the fourth industrial revolution. And if you followed any of my podcasts, you know that this is a very serious topic for me um, and everything. So hold that thought. I want to make sure that I get this recorded. So let's rewind. I'm going to kick this off the right way because I am the host of the Triple Effect. And this is going to be recorded video as well as audio so that I can get it uploaded and have it available on the different streaming platforms. You know that my podcast is hosted on anchor.fm/Rashid1, anchor.fm/Rashid1. And you can find all my podcasts. You can find the New Education Series Part 1. You can find the New Education Series Part 2. And now you're going to be able to find the New Education Series Part 3 right here on my podcast as well as YouTube. So it's nothing like the technology gives you an opportunity to go ahead and perform these two functions at the same time. We can do video, we can go live stream, and we can record audio and get our podcast rolling at the same time. So, hey, this is great. So I'm excited. I've had a very eventful week. I've had a lot going on in the last month or so. Some people may thought I was going to come on here and talk about Bitcoin because I've done about 4 different live classes in the last month and a half, you know, because of the high interest. And you know, as I mentioned every time, you know, historically, you know, I've been in blockchain and crypto space for about 4, almost 5 years now. So, you know, it's not something that I put out front. 4 years ago, it was pretty active. So you may be, you know, surprised, or you may be wondering, well, you know, where's this guy been for the last 4 years? All of a sudden, you know, this Bitcoin buzz, and now, boom, he's all over the air. I've been doing this for a long time. I just been doing it behind the scenes and holding it down, following the markets, you know, in the trading platform as well as in the holding platform, you know, with Coinbase or, you know, exchange like Gemini or one of those. And there's a host of them. But yeah, you know, so yeah, for me, I'm not new to blockchain and cryptocurrency. Those investments have always been part of my portfolio in my learning 2.0 is what I call it. And so recently I developed uh, some e-learning courses that I'm going to be publishing here soon. And one of them is about digital acceleration, the new education series, which I call Learning 2.0. And the first of its kind will be based upon the future of work and learning, because I think that is critical to the skill sets that are required and the work structure that will be the long term work structure that we from the millennials to the Gen Z, Gen 2020, Gen Y, so on and so forth, all the way out to Gen Alpha, will experience, in 2030, something a lot new or a little different than what we experienced when we came up through our workforce or labor force experience. And so I think this is pertinent. I think this is very relevant. And so I want to get it out there and let people know you need to start thinking about things like this, because when the fourth industrial revolution came along, automation and internet and, smartphones and all that kind of stuff, we thought that was just basic communication. It elevated a little bit, but no, it's serious. And AI is playing a huge part in the background of a lot of these technologies. And if you do a little studying, do a little reading, you follow some articles, you'll see there is a lot of good information out there. So, like I said, it's not something that I studied, for 30 years, but for the last, 4 or 5 years, I've been keeping up with the technologies, and it's just exciting to me. I'm an enthusiast. I consider myself a futurist enthusiast, right? Not a scholar of these areas, but I really believe in technology, and I know that if we can harness it properly, then it will support the human race for a long time to come. And so when we get into areas about blockchain, Internet of Things, we talk about AI, really is a thread through all of that. And then we get into 5G, you think it stops there, but it pauses. And within the next 5 to 7 years, we'll be engaging in 6G. And just to hear about some of the leaps into the technology with 6G, it's mind blowing. We thought that 5G was taking us to the next level. 6G, wow, to the moon for real. So some exciting things happening. Some people are afraid of technology. We got to embrace it. It's coming with or without us. Robots aren't going to take over. They're going to support us and help us become better, innovators, better creators of things that help us in our lives and in our work to be better. And one thing I like to say before I kick this off, and I say it jokingly, but there's an article about it that, robots, they may not be taking your job, but you may go to work one day and a robot is the one giving you instructions. The robot is the one giving you the safety brief. The robots are the ones that actually monitor and administer the operation on a day-to-day basis. And you may have, instead of all these middle managers, you may have a few supervisors that you report to, but then you'll have this robot or automated bot that actually provides instruction and detailed explanations for your job. That is possible because how many times have you said, I can do that job? How many times did you say that manager is incompetent? Well, guess what? Maybe there's a robot that can do what that manager's doing. So anyway, let's get started. This is the Digital Acceleration Part 3 of our new education series. It's Learning 2.0, sponsored by Next Era Learning for you. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about AI. So when I talk about AI, you may be saying, AI and big data. What is that all about? This is the Digital Acceleration course. We are talking about what are the future aspects of our work structure. What will be relevant in 2030? What is Industrial 4.0 or Fourth Industrial Revolution? What does that have to do with me? Well, guess what? Everything. If you are alive today and you believe that you're going to have some longevity because, you're taking care of yourself, then great. I want you to listen to some of the ideals that, in my research I've pulled, and I want to make sure that this information gets to you and everybody that's listening. See, artificial intelligence and machine learning is changing how we build products and the customer experience, but it will also change the way we work. So last time I spoke about a gentleman named Jensen doing some interviewing of these experts in the field of future of work and HR, staffing, these type of things. And so really, really good information on the future of staffing and what that'll look like. So he also says he is optimistic about artificial intelligence and machine learning creating more opportunities and jobs in the future. See, some people think that the jobs are going to go away when no, that's not the case. So he also said that it is interesting that he finds ways in his research that you can use data to enhance learning and development, deliver leadership capacity faster, and drive positive behavioral trends at work. This is what AI and machine learning will help do in the workplace. So, as we research how AI is used in personalized adaptive learning technology, it looks like the pedagogy is curating the lesson to the student's style and learning path versus forcing the student to take the lesson that does not promote productive outcomes in the way that best suits the learner. Learning is being overhauled. This is what I call learning 2.0. So, this is something that when I talk about the fourth industrial revolution, then inevitably there's got to be a reaction to that particular revolution. There's a first revolution, second, third, and a fourth. Now, there's something called Society 5.0 that is being exercised in Japan, but really nowhere else. And I look at it and say, doing my research, I put together a white paper based upon all of these emerging technologies and how they intersect in our lives. And I believe that we as the human race is going to have to deal with a reaction to the fourth industrial revolution. Part of it is future of work. The other part is the learning process. And we have to overhaul how we learn. We got to look at it differently because the way we learn is not the same as what it used to be. Because when you bring in AI, when you bring in machine learning, now you got some competition that you didn't have in the past. And so what I call the fifth digital reaction is encompassed in a future of work and learning kind of bubble of sorts. In this sphere, we have to include this learning process because we got to step it up. You can't get reskilled or upskilled unless you understand the learning, and you got to understand it at a personalized level. So AI is being used in personalized adaptive learning technology in order to not force the student to take lessons that they don't need, but they need to be able to curate a lesson to the student's style and learning path. This is Learning 2.0, which is encased in the fifth digital reaction. So that's coming soon. I do have information about that. I'll post up, or I'll give you the link to where I posted up the fifth digital reaction that I wrote about. But Learning 2.0 is another course that I'm going to elaborate on, and that'll be coming out soon as well. So additionally, in my research, I found out that the future will be bright as we bring in more technology. With all that, I believe we will see more micro learning, mobile learning, as well as renew and upskilling for IT and business communication certifications. So those are going to be primary, but there are so many other aspects. We will always need pharmacists, but you can automate that process because it's more accurate and you don't want anybody messing up your pills. Logistics is another thing that, yes, you need humans somewhere in the process, but you don't need as many. That's why there's a big exercise going on where companies, even Uber is one of the leaders in this area. Chrysler is doing it. Mercedes is doing it. They're putting trucks on the road, autonomous driving vehicles. So with 5G technology and blockchain and AI and machine learning and Internet of Things, all of these working together, they're able to put trucks on the road with cargo in the back, and it can travel from California, Las Vegas, all the way to Pennsylvania and deliver without a physical driver in the seat. This is happening already. And so you need all of those technologies in order for it to work. But it's working. And the only challenge they have is with the vehicle under extreme conditions like snow and sleet and ice and things like this. If something happens, how does that vehicle respond? Because yes, the automation can do so much, but you really need that human to understand the nuances of dealing with those extreme conditions. And so they're still working out that piece as well. But it's here and it's happening, and it's coming so fast that truck drivers will definitely have to figure out where they fit in. And that's where the reskilling and upskilling comes in. And there are companies right now that are doing that. California actually has programs that they are supplementing training programs for employers to reskill and upskill their employees, because they know the technology is here. And if you want to upgrade your technology, then you're going to get your employees upgraded as well. And so they can run that technology. So there's an upgrade, there's a promotion in the future for you, if you will take it to the next level with this technology. So absolutely, the future is bright, but you need to start to look at mobile learning, micro learning, micro lessons, nano degrees, and get that renew or upskill, uh, you know, uh, assessment, so you know what you're capable of and what you can do in this future of work. So, what does education look like? We got to learn quicker and simpler. Education breaks out of the silos. We know education. You think of higher education. You got the college. You think of vocational schools. You think of magnet schools and charter schools and core curriculums and all these things. You're trying to make everybody. You got all these squares trying to put in these circles. You got all these circle pegs trying to put them in square holes. Some of it works, some of it doesn't. It's a problem, and society knows it. But most jobs that will be available in 2030, they don't even exist today. So what type of courses are you taking to prepare yourself for the jobs that are going to be available in 2030? If you have kids in school right now, in 2030, they're going to be the workforce. What are you doing to prepare them when most of the jobs aren't even created yet? You know why? Because this generation will create most of those jobs. You're going to need creativity. You're going to be needing innovation, because we are going to create some of the software. We're going to create some of the automation. We're going to create some of the robotics, but then we're not going to be able to finish that process because something's missing. And the smart ones from today will grow up. And when they hit 25, when they hit 26 and 30, they're going to be the ones that teach us how to finish building that robotic system, building that automation, and creating more opportunities for us in the workplace to be successful and not work harder, but working smarter and simpler. See, the way we educate future generations no longer prepares them adequately for the skills and the jobs of today. We will rethink the way talent is developed and deployed and prepare students for a lifetime of learning, better paced to the rapid evolution. Um, I know you're like, what is that word? Yeah, evolution is the word. But yeah, we have to prepare students for a lifetime of learning. And but we have to do it at a better pace, right? We have to do it at the pace of their learning style. And so, but there's a rapid evolution of skills that is going to be needed. And so we need to start now. We can't wait. And that's why I'm happy to be able to deliver this information in this format, because a lot of us have kids and we know that by 2030 they're going to be the ones running the show. And so we need them to be able to innovate and create better options, for the next generation. So yeah, we need education to break out of these silos, where we can learn quicker and simpler. And AR and VR will be instrumental in that process. Lifelong learning is the key. There's no two ways about it. You got to lift the lid on learning and create something new. You know, like I said earlier, personalized adaptive learning technology is the behavior, is the type of pedagogy that is required to curate the lessons to the student style. This is essential for the future of learning, the future of our generation and the next generation and the next generation. critical. Generation Alpha will be the ones that have to be given their learning, their teaching, their adaptive, you know, education in a format that makes sense to them. And so it may not be sitting, 20 in a classroom with a teacher out front. It just may not be the way. And, distance learning and remote learning is becoming, like I said, more individualized and personalized learning is really what's happening. And this is the way it's going to be. So no reason to fight it, but be the lifelong learner. So be there learning right along with the child. Be there to understand how do you get ahead in your job, because it's not only going to affect them, it's going to affect you. Because if you still are working in 2030 and you moved on to retirement and so on and so forth, then you're going to need to know what they know. And there's a level of respect, obviously, for the elders and the leaders that's been around, or the veterans in the organizations that you work for. So those young, smart kids that come through, they're going to have to learn from you as well. There's always ways to bring on the legacy knowledge. Get rid of the legacy systems, but keep the legacy knowledge. So the young ones, when they come in, they'll understand why we do what we do, and how to be successful. They need mentors in the system as well. So not only will employees want to learn throughout their career, but they will also need to learn new skills. Technology will continue to evolve the role of humans and the roles that humans play in the workforce. So everyone will be required to adapt their skills throughout their working lives. So be a lifelong learner. This is something I learned from Robin Sharma, and being a lifelong learner is key to doing what you need to do when you need to do it, and at the pace you need to do it. And right now, the pace is the fourth industrial revolution, but you need to lock in to Learning 2.0 within the fifth digital reaction. This is absolutely critical. So what are we going to be doing? What does statistics say is happening right now and in the future? Well, let me give you some insight. Because you may be thinking, yeah, it sounds good, but you know what? I might retire, or I may be doing something else. I don't really believe that it's going to be that challenging or that different. It wasn't that different 10 years ago, so it's not going to be that different 10 years from now. Well, here's what's happening. In the last year, it was said, because the last year there was a pandemic, there were a lot of pivots, for companies and restaurants and in hospitality industry. And so with that pivot, there were technological challenges that a lot of companies weren't prepared for. Not that they couldn't have been, they just didn't prepare for it because they did not believe there would be some type of crisis that required them to do what was necessary to elevate their technology status in their particular company. So what we hear is that in 10 weeks of this pandemic, we accelerated technology by 10 years because we had to. Because we had to make the shift. We had to make the pivot. We had to do the necessary in order to stay in the game. And the ones that did not, they didn't stay in the game. And now they're out of business. And there's a lot of people that were let go because their company wasn't ready. So what's going to happen in the future? Well, guess what? There will be another pandemic. But before that, now the actions are happening. Now the technology is being put in place. Now people like me are talking to you about this is what you need to do to prepare for what's coming, to make sure that you're in the right place at the right time, because you have the quality, you have the value, and you have the credibility, and you have, most importantly, the skill set that's required for 2030. The majority of the U.S. workforce will be freelancing or doing gigs by 2027. Interesting, isn't it? There will be a large-scale adoption of freelance talent by companies looking to fill talent gaps. Today, more than 57 million workers, that's about 36% of the U.S. workforce, do freelance or gig work. That's like Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, um, the Fiverr.com type, somebody doing a logo for you because that's something they like doing and they get paid for it. Um, somebody may do your taxes, but they don't work for an actual tax company. Um, so there's a lot of skills, desktop publishing, website design. These are things that people learn and they do and they get paid for it. And so they can support you by doing that without the overhead and so on and so forth. So you usually get a better deal. This is going to be the norm based upon what the statistics show. And so they said, based on the current workforce growth rates found in a study called Freelancing in America, in 2017, the majority of the U.S. workforce will be freelancing by 2027. So the youngest workforce generation is leading the way, with almost half the millennials already freelancing. See, millennials are not willing to go to work and be told what to do all day long. They don't want to work for somebody. That's the new generation. So if that generation is teaching the next generation, Generation Alpha, right, this is how we do it, then what do you think is coming next? The preponderance of jobs will be freelance or gig. And I'll get into what the next level of that is. There's an expansion of that, which will impact your particular job or your company or the leadership in your industry. So right now, we see that millennials are already using the smile and connect concept. Smartphone, that's all that's needed. Laptops, yeah, it depends on if you're doing design, but most jobs, but most gigs you can do from a smartphone. This is the evolution that we're in. So when we continue to discuss AI and robotics, we know that 5G is center to that. But what we really need to understand is, what are humans going to be doing? What role do we play in this big picture of sorts? AI and robotics will create more jobs, not mass employment. So don't get in, get all in an uproar. That's not really the case. It is humans who ultimately will decide what the next normal will look like. So think about that for a second. Yes, we will be asking, automation or robots or AI to help us with that decision, but ultimately we'll make that decision. When you build robotics and automation, you're putting software, you're creating their particular spark, as they call it in, the Autobots. But what you're really doing is you're creating a personality, you're creating an intelligence, which is artificial, obviously, and they are accelerating that intelligence with machine learning. And so they will be able to interact somewhat, but at the end of the day, it's the human that's ultimately going to decide what is given to the AI in the form of intelligence and how that's going to develop through the machine learning and some of the big data and Internet of Things additions. So the impact of AI on the future does not spell doomsday for all jobs. After all, machines don't create themselves. Rather, it's up to us to guide innovation, and we have to do it responsibly. This means opening up new windows of opportunity and not eliminating them. Ultimately, automation has created more jobs, not fewer. So statistics are there for a reason. That being said, it is true that some jobs will go away. They will have to, inevitably. And it is easy to conclude which ones should go away. But I predict, right, from my research, that there will not be a shortage of jobs in the future, but rather a shortage of skills to fill the jobs in the future. That's why I continue to have the conversation. I will continue to say, this is Learning 2.0. You have to upskill, reskill, or new skill. You have to figure out, what are you good at? And maybe you're not doing that. Maybe there is some type of business intelligence. Maybe there's some type of IT position. Maybe there's some type of creative, um, consulting, something that will help you to be more valuable in the future. And so you need to look for those type of things. But what I do with my clients when I'm doing career coaching is one of the things that I've incorporated is an assessment to create that career map. You may be doing really good now, but when I talk to you about what's happening today to prepare our society for the future, and that globalization is coming back and it's coming back heavy. Think about, we went from the the pursuit of globalization, the McDonald's, the Burger Kings, the chicken places and all this, to where everything basically, hey, if I built it here, then I want it to be the same in China. I want it to be the same in Dubai. I want it to be the same in Asia. Yes, that's great. Um, but what happened? Then everybody started to silo again, right? Buy American, buy local, small business purchase day, or small business day. So these things became more popular at some point. But then with this pandemic, what happened? Automation. So now that fourth industrial revolution has taken over, and it didn't just creep up, it massively took over because people weren't paying attention. And when that happened, like I said, a lot of people were affected. So do you not believe that, yes, some jobs will go away, and it's easy to figure out which ones? But I believe there will not be a shortage of jobs in the future, but there will be a shortage of skills. And that's why there was such an impact. So globalization created this camera and this knowledge, and now it could be disseminated across the globe. So how does that impact the future of your work and how you reach your people and provide your level of expertise in what you do? Does it have to be something that you talk about? Or maybe you can have this interaction from video with augmented reality or virtual reality. And you could be showing an actual skill. You could be showing plumbing. You could be showing an electrician. You could be showing how to put together, machines. It's all available now. This is what 5G, 6G, and IoT and blockchain will help to bring to the future of your work. So we're almost wrapping it up. It's been about 30 minutes, and I don't want to push it for too long. I can go on and on and on. I love this topic. Blockchain is really kind of where I cut my teeth on, and I really love talking about the many benefits of blockchain. But 5G is another one as well that a lot of people have issues with, but they don't have really any evidence to back it up. I have more evidence on why it works versus the different health effects that have not been proven against 5G. And that's why it's still growing, because there's no proof out there that it doesn't work. But in the future, cities will compete against other cities in the war for top talent. Now, this is probably one of the most important slides that I have for you today. This is one of the most important topics, is cities competing for you. So really think about your next opportunity, your next promotion, your next job. If let's say you're a freelancer, your next job could be wherever you want it. If you want to be stationed or located in Dubai, you can have your place in Dubai, and you can reach to China, you can reach to US, you can reach to Asia, you can reach anywhere, because you're a gig worker, because you're remote working, because you're teleworking, because you have the ability to do that. Why? Because even if you got hired as an employee, you still have the ability to work wherever you are, no matter where that company headquarters is. This is the future that's happening right now. The talent war of the future will no longer be between companies. It will be between cities. And what do I mean by that? Just like I said, the city will be set up to invite you in. There are cities doing it right now. Hawaii is a great example. You can go to Honolulu, Hawaii. They're inviting you to come over. They're like, hey, here's a pandemic. So guess what? Tourism is down to zero. They live off of tourism. So they're inviting you to come over We'll take care of you. We'll give you, if you need visas, if you need whatever, come on over and stay for a year, 2 years, as long as, hey, you purchase food locally, you support the economy, then you can stay here free. We'll give you a place to stay. They'll provide everything except for the food and entertainment. If you can do your job remotely, you can live in Hawaii, no matter who you are, where you're from. That's the cities, the state is competing for the best talent. This is the future. We're just seeing a glimpse of it. And there's other cities doing this too. So as technology untethers society, the remote work becomes the norm. People will live in the cities of their choosing rather than the ones that are nearest to where they work. The cities of their choosing will have a certain vibe. And by offering attractive living options in tech friendly environments, everybody that has the ability to work remotely will do so. I've been doing it over a year. I don't even know how to consider, to think about, to want to even desire going back to an office space. Not something I even want to do. And so opportunities like this, when I read about things like this, believe it. I totally, I believe in it because I see it happening to today. Hawaii is doing it right now. So look out for that. Prepare yourself for that. Set yourself up for success. Get upskilled. Let me know. And like I said, I have a program in place that can set you up for success. And that's why I do this, is to make sure that I have, from point A to point Z. If I tell you about it, bring you a problem, bring you an issue, bring a suggestion, I'm gonna bring you a solution. That's how I've been taught. That's what I'm here to do. So have a city competing for your talent, and that's the way to go. So this has been a pleasure. Um, like I said, I'm Rashid Hill, and I've written, like I said, a multitude of articles. I wrote a book called 8 Ways to Be 10 Times Better. And my latest white paper is about the fifth digital reaction, or the evolution of our future. And I want you to leave with this message. Megatrends and the industrial Internet of Things are influencing industrial production worldwide. Manufacturing companies are required to design highly flexible and efficient processes and systems, and to dynamically adapt their product and service portfolio to changing market requirements. We have a serious confluence and convergence of emerging technologies that require the right skill set to effectively engage in the future. The future is now. It's time to accelerate your digital reaction. Change has arrived, and it's providing you with the best talent and the best tech. I thank you for listening. I look forward to conversing with you on any level, any topic in reference to the future of work and edutech. We can make this an amazing opportunity to prepare ourselves for better learning, better education, better tech, and better understanding of the skills that we need in order to be successful going forward. It's here. Fourth Industrial Revolution has appeared. This pandemic showed a lot of the companies that you really needed to pivot, you needed to prepare, but you didn't. And so now you're forced to rearrange things that you thought you could do later. And so it's already happened. We're behind the curve. And so where do you see yourself fitting in? Well, if you want to know, get in touch with me. You can hit me up at mindset2skillset.com. Go to contact me. Boom. I'll be able to get in touch with you. Or you can go to Rashid at 8 ways to be 10 times better.com. And I'll make sure that anybody that contacts me, you'll get a free gift. There's some good stuff that I have, some promotional things, and I'll be happy to get that to you. So yes, this has been a pleasure. I look forward to having additional opportunities to speak with you, meet with you at some point in the future. It has been the live broadcast This is the triple effect, and digital acceleration, the series part 3 of 3 is complete. Um, until next time, let's stay in touch. And I'm out. Peace.